YouTube, we are back. Hopefully you can hear me. There was a tornado warning mid-lift and it's dumping balls right now. So hopefully you hear me and hopefully this phone stays because I got this propped in like the absolutely perfect spot and I don't know if it's going to stay for this whole rant. So here we go. If you're new to the channel, my name is Nolan Phipps, aka Phipps Fit. Yeah, like and subscribe. Subscribe to the channel, man. I'm dropping knowledge bombs here. Little underrated knowledge bombs. So today we're going to talk about, I'll have my pool session popped up to give you something to watch. But we are going to talk about the post-workout meal, what my post-workout meal is, and what to consider in your post-workout meal, whether you be in a diet phase or a gaining phase, okay? Because it is going to be phase dependent. So first off, my post-workout meal, I'll try to remember to pop up a picture. I have cereal. I have Frosted Flakes, banana, berries, dates, and whey protein. Now, you're looking at that meal, you're like, that ain't very healthy. Well, I'm in a gaining phase, right? Appetite is not sky high, right? I need easy foods to get down. And post-workout, that meal right there is very easy to get down. And it is a lot of carbs and a lot of calories going in. So let's start with let's make this phase dependent, okay? So if you're in a diet, what your post-workout meal should look like, or things to consider, and if you're in a gaining phase, what your post-workout meal should look like, or at least what I recommend and what I give to clients as their meals, okay? So, gaining phase that I'm in, you want that post-workout meal to be a high-carb meal, probably one of your highest carb meals. Now, obviously, in a gaining phase, your glycogen stores are always going to be full, right? Because you're eating in a surplus, and you continue to do that throughout the weeks, you're always going to be full, okay? You're going to be full of carbs, but post-workout, typically for myself and a lot of people, that is when appetite is high, right? It is easy to get in those calories. Now, post-workout, we are going to uptake carbs better, right? We just broke down the muscle fibers within the gym, and now we're replenishing our glycogen stores, okay? So, I would go a fast-acting carb. This is gaining phase, okay? Fast-acting carb, lean protein source, and a high carb. Make it high carb, okay? I would make it one of your biggest meals of the day, right? Just due to the fact that it's easy to get food down post-workout, okay? Lean protein source, little to no direct fats, okay? You can have a little direct fats in your post-workout meal. It's going to slow digestion down a little bit. You tell me if 10 grams of nut butter, you notice a difference between adding 10 grams of a nut butter versus not, okay? As long as you don't go extreme with it and go like 25, 30 grams plus of fat, then you're going to be fine, okay? But that is how I would go about things. So post-workout, you do want a high-carb meal, okay? Everyone talks about, like, peri-workout nutrition, like your pre, intra, and post. That is when a majority of your carbs should be taken in. And I think that's the case in a gaining phase, too. Obviously, yes, you're going to be constantly full of carbs. But at the same time, I still think that is the best way to go about it, to prioritize the training and to just easily like get in the calories, right? Because to a point in your gaining phase, like when you start making calorie increases, like you're just going to be adding food to where it is easiest to get the food down, okay? So post-workout meal, high carb. Don't do a slow digesting carb. I don't recommend that. Like I wouldn't have oats post-workout. Is it going to be the end of the world? Probably not. If they digest well with you, that's the most important thing, to be honest. Like if potatoes or oats do digest well with you, then that's fine, okay? But me personally, after my post-workout meal, I'm eating again in 2 hours, okay? So I like things to digest super quick. But a couple examples that I would go with, right? If you want to go more savory, like you can have a meat and rice meal, simply chicken breast. Here's one, dude. White rice, chicken breast, dates, banana, honey. Oh my God, it is so good. It sounds weird, but it is lovely. Okay, so like a lean protein source, fast digesting carb, and little to no direct fats. Okay, like cereal, whey protein. Perfect example. Cream of rice, berries, whey. Okay, that's another example. Rice cakes, whatever. Whatever you prefer and can get down, and that digests very well with you. Okay, now let's go dieting phase. Okay, now the post-workout meal becomes, early on in that dieting phase, your calories should not be too low. Okay, so you should be able, your 3 biggest meals of the day, right, should be your pre-workout. Pre-workout is the number one. That should be your highest carb meal of the day within a diet to prioritize and fuel your training. Okay, make sure you're drinking an intra-workout. Now, when it comes to the post-workout meal in a dieting phase, at the beginning of that dieting phase, that post-workout meal should be your second second or third biggest meal of the day. Okay, still the same principles apply, right? High carb, moderate protein, heavily lean protein source. I would say, again, within a diet now, you could probably add a little bit more fats, and it might actually improve your process, right? Because it's going to slow down digestion a little bit, and you'll be satiated a little bit longer. Okay, and within a dieting phase, obviously, hunger is going to get a little bit higher. Now, deep into a diet, let's say calories are like at 2,000 or sub 2,000, like your calories are low, okay? Now, we might want to make that pre-bed meal if sleep is starting to suffer or cravings hit late at night. You might want to run a lower carb or a moderate carb post-workout meal, okay? Depending on how many calories you have to play with. And you might want to add more carbs into that pre-bed meal in your pre-workout meal. So, early on in a diet, I would say you have your pre-workout meal as your biggest carb meal, and then your second or third, okay? These two are interchangeable, 2 and 3. Your pre-bed meal, okay? Or your post-workout meal. Deep in a diet, when you've been dieting for an extended period of time, I would say pre-workout meal, number 1 biggest carb meal of the day. And then you want your pre-bed meal to have high carbs and high fat to satiate you throughout the night and to improve your sleep and recovery, okay? And then your post-workout meal, because guys, you're not burning through that much glycogen in the gym. Like, I'm sorry, but you don't need a ton of carbs post-workout. Again, in a gaining phase, I recommend having a big carb post-workout meal, not due to I mean, yes, you do uptake carbs a little bit better post-workout, okay? There's no doubt about that, but it's not like you're burning if you're a hybrid athlete, completely different. I'm talking about hypertrophy training, okay? You're going into the gym, you're lifting weights, kind of like a bodybuilder, like, okay? Now, if you're a hybrid athlete, completely different story. Yes, you need a freaking ton of carbs after you go on a 5-mile run, okay? You need to replenish right away. But if you're just lifting weights, you're not burning that much glycogen throughout the session, okay? So the post-workout meal is not going to be that important within a dieting phase. Your pre-workout meal and pre-bed meal are going to be more important, okay? So to recap, gaining phase, I recommend a big post-workout meal, fast digesting carb, lean protein source, little to moderate fat. Again, just don't be so extreme. And then in a post-workout meal, in a dieting phase, same thing. High to moderate carbs, depending on where your total daily calories are at. Little fats, maybe even a little more fats, like maybe even 15, 20 grams in that post-workout meal. Not going to be the end of the world. It's going to satiate you throughout the day. If you want to evenly split up your fats throughout the day in a dieting phase, I would recommend doing so if hunger is high. And then, again, a lean protein source in that post-workout meal. Again, like the most important thing is fast digesting carb, or any carb that sits well with you. Like I said, high carb, a lean protein source, little to no fats, maybe moderate fats within a diet, and that is how to go about things. Again, there's no like perfect post-workout meal. It's personal preference. It's foods that you enjoy, foods that digest well with you. Experiment, find what works for you, and be consistent with it. That is the most important thing within physique development. So guys, I'm going to leave you here. That is how to go about your post-workout meal, and that is my post-workout meal that I am about to go absolutely slam. Quick one today, but hopefully you got something out of it. If you did, like, subscribe, comment, share, whatever. Coaching inquiry in the link below. If you want online coaching, I'll get you right. You guys have a fantastic day, night, morning, afternoon, whatever day it is, whatever week. Have a good one. All right. Take care of yourselves. Peace out.